Ways and Means Committee meeting together, or whatever the heck I just said. I'd like to turn it over to you, Kim.
Hi, everybody. We're here tonight to make a presentation. We have two different banks that I'll be talking to. The first group is, these folks are from Bank of America, and they've graciously flown here from Boston today to talk to you. We have Eva, Sam, and Harry, and they're going to present to you.
Thank you. You want to sit behind you or wherever you're comfortable? This is fine.
Just make sure that everybody in the back can hear.
Okay. Did everyone that is supposed to have a presentation get one? Okay, great. Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you for a few minutes this evening, ladies and gentlemen. We really appreciate the opportunity to share Bank of America's e-payable solution with all of you. This is a product that we're especially good at, we're particularly proud of, and one of the best things about the product is the team that comes with it. So what you get with e-payables is a combination of benefits. You get the financial rebate that Sam's going to talk to you about, but you also get a really strong team that works with you to make sure that it's effective. So you're going to hear first from Eva. She's going to talk to you a little bit about the program and how we work with you to make it a success. Sam's going to talk about the financial benefits with you, and I'll offer a few closing remarks and wrap it up for you. We're more than happy to take questions along the way or at the end, whatever works best for all of you. Thank you.
Yeah, if we can, let's listen and then we can do the questions at the end.
Okay. It's a 3-page presentation, and there's an appendix in the back with more information if you need it, but we know we don't have a lot of time, so we want to just make sure we give you the highlights.
Yeah.
I just wonder if there could be any kind of introduction on why we're doing this, because I don't know why they're here. I mean, I know they're going to tell me what they do, but is there any way we're going to know why they're doing what they're doing?
Well, we're going to get into that.
I can do that.
We're hoping to create some revenues for the county as well as provide some services for the people.
Okay, well, I'll give you a high-level overview. So, thank you for the question. The program that we are going to go over with you tonight is essentially a way of paying your vendors, the county's vendors, electronically. And in the process of paying your vendors electronically, you get 3 benefits, financial benefits, direct financial benefits. The first is that you eliminate paper checks. The second is you hold on to your money longer so that you earn interest on that money while it sits with you instead of paying your vendors as quickly as you do today. And the third and most important benefit is you earn a rebate from Bank of America. This is a program in which we work with your vendors, and you pay your vendors electronically through the Visa network as opposed to paying them today by a check. In the process of doing that, you generate some interchange revenue off of the credit card transactions and your vendors. We earn a piece of that and we share that with you. And so the more successful the program is, the more of a revenue opportunity it has. Does that help? Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you, Harry. And thank you everyone for the opportunity to present this to you today. I just want to start off by saying that electronic payables is a service that many banks could provide. However, the difference between us and them is that we've been in this industry for 7 years. We're one of the pioneers of this service. In addition, we are the largest vendor, we are the largest we're the largest vendor cash manager. So sorry. They don't let us out much. This is the first time I'm presenting to a group this large in about 15 years, so my apologies. We're the largest vendor acceptance in the country with 1,000 clients and 56,000 vendors enrolled plus going on. In addition, with all this experience, we have been able to collect a lot of feedback from our clients. One of the major feedbacks that we get, positive feedback, is the Works platform, which we provide Herkimer County free of charge. And this platform allows you to manage the entire program via our web-based in-house solution. But aside from our works that we provide, besides going green and outside of streamlining your process, what really drives electronic payables, as Harry was saying before, is the rebate component. And what drives the rebate is vendor enrollment and vendor acceptance. And with that, we provide you a dedicated team outside of us. We provide an accounts payable manager and a enrollment specialist, which will help you start the program and also grow the program through the entire life of the program. Outside of the dedicated team, we are able to provide local references. On this program, we have Erie County and Buffalo Public Schools, which we provide to Kim to contact, to kind of just talk to a peer. Sometimes it's best to talk to peers about programs that banks offer. With that, I'd like to turn this over to Sam, and he will provide you with financial benefits for Herkimer County in specifics. Oh, please turn to page 4. My apologies.
Good evening, everyone. So here we have financial benefits for a 7-day cycle. We're also able to offer the county a financial benefits based upon a 30-day cycle as well as a 14-day cycle. And those examples are on the second to last page and the third last page of the appendix. So here we have 2 scenarios. We have conservative enrollment and the aggressive enrollment. And as Eva and Harry had highlighted, really what's key to the program is your enrollment and the resources that we provide to you with that. So at the onset, our implementation team is going to contact your vendors on your behalf as the first wave to help drive the volume. In addition to that, we will provide the county with quarterly check-ins and discussions on the program to see how it's working. Also, as a post-process, on an annual basis, we can offer the county annual enrollment so that as your vendors are new or perhaps changing the way that they're doing business to help drive that volume further.
Are these figures annual figures?
These are annual figures based upon the initial year after the first year of the program. That's the potential. So here we have the conservative enrollment, and that's based upon a 7-day cycle. So with that, the county would receive after the first year a rebate of $61,000, and on an aggressive basis, we're looking at $85,000.
Okay, can you do us a favor? Give us a scenario of the widget company that we own, how does it work?
Sure. So we would contact the widget company whom we've identified as a vendor who takes card, and then we say, Mr. or Mrs. Widget Company, would you accept e-payables as a form of payment, Visa as a form of payment? And they would say yes. We would add them to the vendor list of vendors who accept it, and then from there, we would gather their email information or their fax number, and then we would send them the information as you're sending us the file.
Okay, does it work like any other credit card in regards to what they're taking to, they're going to be getting a discounted portion of them?
Yes, so it's one thing to keep in mind, there are no credit cards floating around. There is no plastic anywhere. So that's first and foremost, it's really important that you understand that. But what you do is you send us a file. The same way you would send a file to pay direct deposit to your employees, you send us a file to pay your vendors electronically. And we take that file and we reach out to your vendors on your behalf and process the payment for you, collect the proceeds through the merchant network, and provide those funds back to you in the form that works best for all of you.
So if they would have gotten a check that they sold us $100 worth of widgets, they're going to get a discounted amount for
Right.
accepting it. And if Herkimer County has had very good prompt payments, they would settle for less.
Perhaps, but what you have to understand is we already know which of your vendors take credit card payments today. So, pick a common name of Staples. Staples already gets a lot of benefits by getting paid credit card. And they signed up to take credit card payments from all kinds of enterprises already. And so if you buy $100 worth of pens from Staples, they're going to get $98 or so, round numbers, right? They're going to get a little bit less. But they get paid quicker. And their accounts payable process is a lot quicker because they don't have to deal with a paper check coming in.
Yeah.
So their process works better, and that's why they've decided to take credit cards. So this isn't something you're forcing on your vendors. This is something where we already started with vendors that take credit card today, and in fact, take the payables product today. So it really is a benefit for them as well as for you.
And they do factor in taking electronic payments in their cost of business.
They take it into their, well, yeah, small amount of time. It doesn't change, I'm sorry, it doesn't change the way we do our purchasing process. We do all of that the same. They still invoice us, and then we electronically say, these are the people we want to pay. Is it an all or not, well, you said you aggressively enroll. We still will have a check process for those that don't want to enroll, and yet I mean, if they're state contract, I don't know if they're obligated, or if they're our contract, if they're obligated to join us, and if not, we can keep between both systems. It's just we would save on the ones that did go through.
It won't completely eliminate your checks. It's only for those vendors where they decide it makes sense for them and it makes sense for you.
Does it integrate easily with our accounting system of payments?
Yes, actually, we've looked into your ERP system and checked the compatibility, and yes, it does work.
So there's no cost to us for setup or anything of that nature?
That's correct, there's no cost.
And how labor intensive is it for us?
That's all.
Didn't get pushed by.
Is it more than that? Is it more than, in the recruitment, you're doing the recruiting of our vendors, is that it?
That's correct.
So what do we do other than push the button?
There's some work up front in ensuring that you're able to create a file that we can work with. And we've never run into one we haven't been able to work with. We're pretty flexible in the format. So it's setting up the initial implementation, identifying the vendors, getting them enrolled, testing the file transmission between Herkimer County and Bank of America. So there are a few steps. There's some IT involvement. You're going to want to make sure your procedures are right. You're going to want to make sure your auditor is happy with it. So there's a little bit of work involved, but it's not like you're going to have to hire a person to run the program. Once it's up and running and things are operating on business as usual basis, it's very similar to creating a check run. Instead of say if you pay your vendors every week, you create checks for the ones that take check, and you just run a separate file for those that take payables.
And if we were into a cash flow difficulty, we could just send you the file and those that we want to pay, while we're holding back on somebody else.
Yes, absolutely.
So obviously you make money by doing this process and then we get a rebate. How do you share that rebate?
We share the rebate.
Is there usually a 2% fee? That was the. you sort of-
That's an example.
Yeah.
It honestly, it varies a lot depending
Okay,
on.
so what is it that you are, what percentage are you rebating back to us?
Sure, on a 7-day cycle, we have the rebate at 1.51%. On a 14-day cycle, which is in the appendix, excuse me, let me just quote. The third to last page, we have a 1.43%. And on a 30-day cycle, we have a 1.17%. And this is what we were talking about earlier with us working with you. Let's say if you were to come to a cash flow instance, we could actually work and change the cycle time. And two, looking out in the future in 2014 and 2015, once rates get more attractive, hopefully on the savings side, we can go up to a longer cycle. But where rates are today, we're encouraging our clients to go to the shorter cycle.
When does the cycle start? By the time from the date we get the invoice? Are they sending that electronically to us, or?
The cycle,
You said 7-day cycle.
right, right.
When does that cycle period start?
Yeah, right, so I mean, we can have a weekly cycle that starts on Friday or it starts on a Monday.
No, I mean, is it based on when we receive a bill?
Staples sent us a bill Friday, for $100,000. When does that process start? I think that's.
It's when you incur a charge on the card.
On the what?
On the card. So, not that there's a plastic card, but on the account. So, you send us a file on a Friday at 2 o'clock.
That's when it starts.
Just as an example, and we'll pick the day that works best for all of you. Usually, we get them out in an hour and a half to your vendors. If on that Friday, in the example I gave you of Staples, that Friday would be the day that the clock starts ticking for 7 days. So it would be due the following Thursday, on that is right, or the following Friday, depending on how, I'm not sure exactly which day it would click over.
So that's based on when we enter the information to send you?
No, it's when your vendor charges the account.
When our vendor invoices you, we're giving them instructions and that hits your account. What did you say from the vendor charge? And vendor invoices us, and invoice them to the facility.
So vendor invoices, you send.
We enter it into your system.
No, you enter it in your system, okay, your accounts payable system. And you say, okay, it's Friday, I'm going to pay the bills. You create a file to produce your checks, and you create a file to send to us.
So our people can be entering all week.
Right.
But on Friday, when they batch or whatever they do and send it to you, that begins the start of the 7-day cycle.
Almost. They send the file to us. We send communication to those vendors. As they start charging the account, those accumulate, just like they were charging on a credit card.
Well, they invoice, that's not charging us.
That's right.
They have another exercise they have to go through.
That's right. That's right. So instead of depositing a check, they're processing a credit card transaction. As soon as they process that transaction, it shows up on our system and yours, and you can see real time when they do that every day. So you're never in the dark about when these things are happening. You'll know exactly when they charge, and when they charge is when the cycle starts. So Sam has suggested a 7-day cycle because the faster you pay, the better the rebate potential. And there isn't right now any financial incentive to leave money sitting idle in your bank account because interest rates are so low. So that's why we're recommending the faster cycle.
Is there a limit to the amount of dollars you have to keep in your account on the card?
It's not like a debit card.
What your weekly transaction is?
There's no limit. There's no limit. You don't actually keep any money on deposit with us. You're actually just processing transactions through us.
So you're tapping, we had our account at ABC Bank instead of Bank of America.
Yeah.
You just tap into our ABC account and transfer the funds. Is that what happened?
If that's how you choose to pay
If we
the
don't,
bill.
but if we don't want to change our banking to you,
Yeah, you don't have to switch the banking to us.
so then you tap our account to take the money to pay.
Yeah, every week, we would make sure we have the number right. We ACH the money out, and that's how you settle it up.
How much do you expect, so your kick, I mean, is this considered a professional service that we don't have to bid? Or is this, I mean, there are other banks that do this?
There are other banks that do this. I don't know specifically what your procurement rules are around this. It's not something that you're paying a fee for. You get paid a fee, so.
Okay, I'll trust you, I'm getting on that.
Yeah, Mr.
The
Vaughn.
rebate rate stays at a fixed rate for length of contract, or is it
That's right.
adjustable? Or?
And it's sort of a contract at will. At any time you decide that you want to terminate the contract, 30 days notice or thereabouts. This is a mutually beneficial relationship, and usually the way these things work is the client calls us up and says, can you look at our rate? We've got something better, or frankly never run into it yet, to be honest.
What sets you apart? One of the comments that the young lady said was that you have the host of vendors that have already described you. What sets you apart from your competition?
A couple of
We're going to hear from other banks.
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing is what these two folks told you is really our ability to work with your vendors to get them enrolled. So we've got a very, very competitive rebate schedule that we put in front of you, but the rebate schedule doesn't do you any good if vendors don't enroll. So there's really two elements to this. We've got, first of all, you've got this dedicated team who brought the idea to Herkimer County because we saw it as something where we thought it would help you. And we work with your vendors at initial enrollment. We actually work with the vendors. We design a calling campaign, or mail, or whatever works for all of you. You help us write the script. We know your vendor relationships are very, very important, so we work with you on this to identify those that are going to want to do it. Not everybody will, and that's okay. That's part of the way it works.
If we said yes tonight, how long does it take to get the process moving?
From a process standpoint, by the time that you would go live, about 6 weeks.
Any other questions? Because we do have another. All right, thank you.
Thank you all for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
I second that.
You're welcome.
Book of Mormon. The Book of Mormon. Hello, just get introduced.
Yes, as many of you probably know, this is Frank Kapusta from M&T Bank across the street. He brought his colleagues Jason and Linda to talk to you today. Thanks.
Where do we go? Where do we begin?
We're up here comfortable.
Would you sign in? No sign in, okay.
Well, while Linda is passing
Linda,
out
actually,
the
can I-
handouts,
Yes.
I'll begin. I know we're under some time restraints here. First of all, good evening, and thank you for providing us this opportunity for being here tonight. And we look forward to presenting tonight a solution for you that will not only enhance efficiencies for you, but also create a revenue stream. And that revenue stream can actually be translated into a line item into your budget. And we'll surely demonstrate that. But even though Kim produced the introductions to us, I do want to go a little bit deeper to say what we all do here. Linda Gallagher is Vice President of M&T Bank. She's in Treasury Management. I think some of you may have met her before. Jason Marsh is our credit card consultant, Vice President with M&T Bank, and he'll be doing the main presentation. And myself, you know who I am. I live across the street. And I've been in government banking now for quite some time, and we provide a dedicated service that just revolves around government banking, so this is what we live and breathe. But without further ado, I want to turn this over to Jason to start the presentation, and we'll walk us through it. I do want to make sure that this is an interactive presentation, so please ask questions at any time as we go through the parts of it, okay?
Great, okay, so if I could, thank you all for taking the time to listen to us tonight. We do appreciate that. And everybody's got a copy of the presentation. I'll just call your attention to the first page there for the agenda. We just like to talk a little bit first about the value proposition, why M&T Bank, how M&T is different, how we perceive the service that we provide to our government clients is different from our competitors. We'll talk a little bit about this, what we call our supplier enrollment support, the Visa Payables Automation Service itself, how this can benefit the county, and then we'll get into some specifics about the financial proposal that we're offering. Okay.
Everybody here okay?
Great, thanks. On page 2, under the value proposition, as Frank mentioned, there is a revenue stream opportunity here for you with this product. And there are some additional benefits as well. The improved cash flow is something that can be leveraged by you. If you think about using this product to make payables, to make vendor payments with, when you initiate these payments, your vendors are going to be paid within 24 to 48 hours. You, in effect, do not pay the bank back until about 30 days later, and that's an interest-free period. So there's a cash flow opportunity there. Rates where they are today, that's not terribly important, but as that changes and hopefully the economy rebounds, rates improve, that will have a bigger impact down the road. And of course, that impact can be found in the opportunity to maximize short-term investment alternatives with some of that surplus cash that you have. Financial benefit, this is really a more attractive method than other payment methods that are out there. These payments or check payments, there's a cost really associated with issuing those payments. You're really transferring the cost of each of those payments to the vendor in this case, and gaining some of those financial benefits for yourself. The primary financial benefit we're talking about is a rebate. In case anybody hasn't explained that to you, that is cash back payable from the bank back to the county on an annual basis. Every time you use this Visa product to make a payment, the supplier is paying a transaction charge for that transaction. The majority of that fee goes to Visa and MasterCard. The remaining amount is split between the bank that issued the card and the bank that processed the transaction. Since we would be the issuer of that Visa product, we make a very small piece of it, and in turn we share that revenue with you, the county, at the end of the year. And that's really where the rebate comes from. And we'll get into the specifics of what we think that rebate can be for you towards the end of the presentation. I mentioned supplier enrollment support, and again, this is really a very important aspect of adopting a program like this. You need to get your suppliers, the county's regular suppliers, on board. They need to understand this process and be willing to accept payments this way. We provide a service whereby we reach out and communicate to those suppliers on your behalf. It's not something that's required. It's just something that we make available to our clients. Most of our clients do choose to make use of it because otherwise we're involving staff at the county to contact and reach out to your supplier base and talk through this new payment option with them. We can do that much more efficiently and much more cost effectively. So, all right, just moving on to the next page there, we'll talk a little bit about the M&T difference. M&T has been issuing Visa cards for quite a long time, over 10 years now. We have a dedicated Western New York, Central New York-based rep, that would be myself, who would be dedicated and responsible to the program. The state-of-the-art processing platform with robust online access. This program will allow you to, through an online portal, the financial staff of the county will be able to monitor all of these payments, those payments that have been taken, those that are outstanding, reconciliation. There's just a lot in terms of audit, compliance, control, and reconciliation that surrounds this product as well. The implementation support that I mentioned, we have a dedicated individual who will work with the county, the financial team of the county, to onboard to make sure that this program is a success. And this is a little bit different than many other bank products in that there really has to be a long-term partnership, I think, for this product to be successful. And we have seen it be successful in many cases, particularly in the government space. And one of the ways that we've made sure that that happens is by staying very close with our government partners and working very closely with them. What does that mean? It means selling you the service up front, making sure everybody understands it, you're getting the benefit out of it, and you're using it. But it also means 6 months from now, or a year from now, or 2 years from now, revisiting with the financial people in the county the success of the program, what's working well, what's changed in the industry, how can we improve acceptance, just continually managing the program and trying to get the best out of it. I think is key to the success of these types of programs. Dedicated customer service support is certainly something that M&T Bank offers. We prided ourselves on that for a long time. Our support group is based in Buffalo, and that will be a dedicated support team just for the financial folks at the county. So, when somebody at the county has an issue, they need to talk to us, they're going to be able to reach out to us directly, or they'll be able to reach out to a support team who knows them, understands the products that we'll be using and the services, and be able to help them right away.
What's a cardable spend?
Cardable spend would just be a term that we will use that identifies the amount of money that you're spending today that goes to companies that are already accepting Visa as a form of payment. Okay. Moving on to the next page, a little bit more about the supplier enrollment process. Again, one of the keys is getting the suppliers, the county's vendor base to accept this form of payment. Many of them will. A good portion of them are already accepting this form of payment from other counties or other business entities as well. So the task there is to enroll them in this program and make sure that they are willing to accept payment in this fashion going forward. And the way we would do that is first to work with folks in the financial department of the county to craft a letter that would go out to the suppliers, and that letter would explain the program, make all details known to the supplier. Here's what the process is, that type of thing, all is contained in the letter. And then we would have our supplier enrollment person actually make a follow-up phone call to all of the suppliers and have a one-on-one dialogue. This is a fairly involved process in that, there are probably certain relationships that you have, that the county has with certain entities, certain companies that are very important, very large key suppliers, if you will. You may not want to include them in the whole group that we're going to send letters out to. You may want to have one-on-one conversations with those as well. I just point that out because,
Well, when you say you, us, or do you mean
in what sense?
in the sense that are you contacting these vendors, or are we contacting?
Right, what I'm saying is we will contact 100% of them for you if you wish, but there are probably key suppliers that you have where you may like to retain that right and have that conversation with them yourself. If that's the case, you can certainly do that, but we will gladly contact all.
Is our program champion somebody from your office?
There should be a program champion, somebody within the county who understands the service and can have dialogue with the suppliers should they call in and say, how do I process my payment, any questions that they may have. We would work very closely with whoever you identified as the program champion, just to make sure that they were fully up to speed and knowledgeable about all of the products we provide ongoing training and support for that person as well. So just in summary on the supplier enrollment process there, again, that is something that we would take on, typically a letter campaign followed by follow-up phone calls, all through with the county's consultation, of course. Moving over to the next page here, we get to the part where we actually describe the process here and what happens. And what we're talking about here are the payments themselves. So let's assume that the county is about to do a check run, as they normally do, and a number of vendors are going to get paid by check. In this scenario, some of those vendors would get paid through the Visa program. And the county, instead of issuing a check for those particular vendors, would put those payment instructions into a data file. So any of that information that would go on the check stub, the invoices that you're paying, vendor name, dollar amount, all that information that would go onto the check and the check stub would, in this case, end up on a data file. That data file comes to us. We in turn process it, and a secure email is sent out to the supplier. The supplier opens the email, they've got all the information that you forwarded to them, invoice numbers, they have everything they need to process the payment, and then they would process that payment on their end like they would any other credit card. This is a secure process, and again, the integrity of your existing payment process does not change. So today, whatever process you have in place for approving and making sure that the payments that are going out the door are legitimate and have been authorized, that remains intact. This is really just an alternate payment method or a different payment method at the end of that process. We can also provide a reconciliation file if that's something that you wanted to receive towards the end of the month or at any time, that reconciliation data back in an electronic file. So. Just to summarize some of the benefits that are available to Herkimer County through using this process. And again, many of our other government clients are using this product today. And they've seen increased efficiency from this because they're sending these payment instructions out electronically and no longer printing paper checks and sending those out for those companies that are receiving these payments. The ability to have greater oversight and control, the ability to input some secure controls, if you will, for this, in the sense that you're not using a single credit card to pay every single one of the vendors out. The way this works is there is a separate 16-digit credit card account number that is unique to each vendor, and that number, that credit card is always kept at a zero credit line. So when the county sends that data file to us that says, pay ABC company $2,500, that's the trigger for us to turn up the credit line on that particular account to that amount, $2,500 is basically.
So you said like each company becomes like a credit card on itself?
Each company that you pay this way would have their own unique credit card account number. That's correct. Right? And the credit line for each of those is kept at zero until such time that you send us a payment instruction which raises the credit line. And really what that does is prevent any of these vendors from saying, gee, the county short paid me last month and then take a little extra this month. They can't do that. They attempted to do that at the end of the year rejected because you had not authorized that. So just in terms of increased control and reduced exposure, that summarizes that. And with that, I think what we'd like to do is just move over to the financial aspect of it. So while we're handing those out, any questions about the process or anything that I covered?
Who do you do it for now?
We have a number. I can certainly get your names and contacts for references, but just in general, we are processing today for Monroe County. Monroe County, yep. There are other school districts, other entities. I can certainly get you a reference list if you'd like. I just have to clear, that.
Can we talk about how your rebate program works?
Yep, that's what we're getting to next. Yep, absolutely.
I can tell you that we're in the process of doing a presentation on
The other document in your packet is a two-page document that explains the pricing. And there's a lot of information on here, but just in summary, what I'd like to point out is that there are no costs associated with this program for the county. You pay some licensing fees and so forth through these, we absorb all of those. The first page of this document just spells out what some of those fees are, but you can see it either says zero or waived. We are absorbing all of these for the program, so there would be no cost to the county for this program. On to page 2, what we're proposing here is a rebate, and again, this rebate is going to be based on the total amount of spend that is put through the program annually. And we've estimated a $4.5 million annual spend in this example. And as you can see under the rebate column there, the percentages that are reflected there indicate the rebate that will be paid. This is a threshold rebate, meaning once you cross over that threshold in spend, you're going to receive that corresponding rebate percentage amount on the entire amount. So in this example, as it goes, the first threshold is $1, the second is at $5 million. At $4.5 million, you've received the first rebate percentage there on the total amount.
What did you say, how much? What was the percent?
It's the top first column. Yep, right.
And what is it after, 1.2 after that?
Right. So the threshold spend column is that increases there. Once you get over $5 million, it goes up to the higher percentage rate. And then anything you spend over that amount, you receive that full percentage.
What late charges, us paying you, you're being able to get to our account on the first page?
Yeah, there's a late charge down there. It's really more of a disclaimer than anything else. Typically, the way we collect payments is through an auto debit. So you collect payment and it's late that month. It's more like
So if we're broke, you don't get it, and
Right.
then we're gonna pay.
So, but yeah, I mean, we don't, the late charges, they're related to this thing. A lot of that is
When Center Suite Suite Transaction Management Custom Mapper Setup.
CenterSuite is a companion online web tool that is used primarily just to extract a reconciliation file. A custom mapper is a data file extractor that you do not need for this particular application. That cost is down there really again as a disclaimer.
But it says a minimum, what governs when it goes up?
It depends on how long it takes to create that mapper. So again, you wouldn't use that mapper. Those mappers are only used for customers that have a team in the card program.
And every vendor we put on this, we pay $20?
No.
What does that say? Express card issuance fee?
No, those are for cards. This pricing proposal covers both plastic cards and the payables automation product that we're talking about. The plastic card fees again apply just for businesses.
If we took on your credit cards.
Right. Right.
That's not necessary.
Correct.
And that 20 would just be if you needed a card, say like overnight. That's what that means. It wouldn't have anything to do with, say, if there was, heaven forbid, a fraudulent transaction on a card that you may have issued through us. We would not charge anything for that card to be reissued.
And again, we're talking about payables automation. It's not an automated way to make these payments to the suppliers, not issuing plastic cards. It's a different product.
You identified, I think you said you identified how much money you could sort of start out with in regards to the vendors that would accept it. How much was that?
$4.5 million is the first year annual spend that we estimate.
And that was in 35, was it 3,500? It was a certain number that you reviewed our file?
Yes.
35 accounts?
We did, and we assume that number is a little bit subjective. I mean, that is an estimate based on historical data, what we've seen with other programs, the data that we were able to obtain for your vendor analysis.
But rebate excludes purchase volume that qualifies for large ticket interchange. Tell me what that means in English.
Yes, I can tell you what that means in English is we are actually waiving that requirement for you, and I will explain what that means.
So we appreciate all you're giving.
Yeah. There are certain companies out there who have the ability to process a credit card transaction at a lower cost than other transactions that they might process. That's called a large ticket program. It's something that Visa and MasterCard make available. If I'm a company, I have to say I make bricks, and I often sell something for a load of bricks at $10,000. I can go to Visa or MasterCard and say, hey, I'm always taking these transactions that are $10,000. Can you sign me up with this large ticket program? They'll sign me up for it. I have to pay a fee to get into it, and I have to pay a fee for every transaction that I process that way. But ultimately, I get a lower cost from Visa or MasterCard as the company is processing that transaction. Typically, with commercial card programs, because that interchange or that amount that's paid on the transaction is much smaller than it normally would be, those transactions are typically excluded from rebate purposes for calculation of rebate. We're not doing that. We will follow that up in writing for you, but we are, in fact, we will pay you 60 basis points on any large ticket transaction. There really are not a lot of companies that process transactions through that large ticket program, but there are some out there. Some are aware of it, some are not. Some are aware of it and they want to pay the fee, or pay the transaction fee for it. There are some you may encounter some companies that can pay for this program. That transaction goes through as a large ticket. You receive a lower percentage.
Jason, I don't think most people would understand the basis point is what you explained.
Right, so a basis point would be so if I were to say 25 basis points, that's a quarter of 1%.
How many vendors do you have online?
How many vendors are being paid through the system? I mean, we have dozens and dozens of clients that use this system. Each of them probably average somewhere between 50 and 200 or 300 vendors.
Did you take our file and match them against that whole database to see how many of us?
We take your file of companies that you buy from and run an analysis to determine which of them are already accepting these.
And how many did you find?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember what the number was.
It was, I don't have a total number with me, but we took a percentage of that to be the 36. It's a very low estimate.
But if they're already in the system, one would expect that why wouldn't they, right? If they're already using it with somebody else, why wouldn't they?
Well, that's a good point, and in most cases they will, but I'm not, I wouldn't stereotype that in all cases. It just depends. You could have a company that's receiving payment this way from, 5 other entities, and those payments are all very small, and that company didn't get as an issue. The company may come back and say, "Gee, things, I do work, $20,000, that's not an issue."
Fred has a question.
Your percentage of the rebate tax falling, suppose interest rates start to climb, does that rebate figure climb also?
No, we don't.
That's based strictly on volume dollars.
Right, it's based on the volume.
Is there another threshold in regards to the 5 million?
The amounts that we have proposed there are towards, are at or above the upper end of our scale, so the percentage that we have at 5 million would apply for those.
And you, so based on 4.5 million, we could just multiply that by the 1.15% to come up with how much we figure we can earn.
Right.
Is there any other questions? We do have a long.
Just the payment cycle, is how many days, are you assuming in years?
This is
You just, I didn't hear it.
10 days.
So the payment, the statement cycle, billing period, if you will, is 30 days, and then we have 10 days to pay for that after.
So what was that different from everybody else? Why did you do that way to go?
Well, I think there's a couple of reasons. First of all, you have local staff here, all people are based centralized in January, provide a significant amount of these services to locally based municipalities as well as other school districts, commercial entities as well. The relationship brings both, local and direct.
The one thing I want to bring to mind is what really sets us apart is that as government bankers, we're dedicated to just this piece of business. I have no other distractions. Certainly, if you have a personal request, I could find the right answer for you, but on a professional basis, this is what I do day in and day out, I deal with government entities. And the address for that, by the way, is 319 North Main Street, which is across the street, so that's where you find it. But that is the most critical piece, that you have a group of, and this is my team, it's not just me, okay? I'm the lead relationship manager for the county. But I bring forth with me also a lot of years of experience in specialized fields, and these are specialized. What the key is to understand what the needs of the county is, and to bring the right solution to it, to the right means, and this is what it is. Okay, thank you.
Just want a 30-day cancellation clause, is that good for us too, or is that, you've got to, the bank may terminate the above rebate or any portion thereof with 30-day written notice. So we sign on, we get going, and then get 30 days notice, and we're not in there.
Are you asking if you have that same right?
Because there's things in here you say don't apply to us, I wonder if that applies to us.
The 30 days cancellation policy, you would have that same right. So there's no time limit on the side. Nor, no.
Any other questions, please just send some to Jim, so we get along with him.
Thank you very much.
Great,
Thanks.
Okay, approve amendment of resolution 5, 2012 depositories. Next three. Approve GASB 54, Kim, and approve part-time temporary position of county treasurer's office. Details?
The first one is, I do rate shopping all the time. I call around, see who's got what for rates. And right now, JP Chase Morgan has a comparable rate that I'd like to take advantage of, but the current depository agreement only allows me to go up to 1 million. I'd like to up it to 4 million so that I can take advantage of that higher rate.
Yeah, we have a motion for 4 minutes. Vernon, there's a second. I'll second. Any other discussion, ways and means? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, carried. GASB 54.
Basically, the new laws that they have. Me? Okay. The state has redesigned a lot of their GASB requirements, and what they'd like you to do is designate who is going to be responsible for designating the fund balances. And so you decided to authorize yourselves as being that governing body versus myself or one other person. It would be you as a whole to make that decision.
Can I have a question?
Yeah.
I went out when I saw that that's what we were doing. I went out just to put in gas in 54 to see what I could come up with, and Of course, obviously, it didn't just come up in New York State. But it had other government agencies that not only were adopting resolutions, as you just suggested, but also how we would label and I don't know, maybe the term earmark, the various components of the fund balance. Where are we in relationship to that, and who would decide those things?
The state actually has codes already put into their system when I type in the annual report, and we have to designate everything under those codes.
But do we have to establish limits, or just, I mean,
Not so far that I've seen.
does it require that we establish anything besides just accepting those codes?
Not that I've seen, but that could be a better question for Dark Angelo and Company, but not that I've seen so far.
Yeah, 'cause this is basically, Helen issued a statement 54, fund balance report and governmental fund type definitions, GASB 54, which changes the terminology and reclassifies the components. I think that's what you're alluding
Yeah,
to.
but
So that's all
I-
part of the resolution that we would be doing.
Will we be adding all that into the resolution?
That's a part of the
For the
resolution.
15?
Yep. But again, that goes back to Kim's accounts, and that's, whatever that money is, that's where that money would go.
But it does, I thought I read something that it established limits, maybe I'm wrong.
Not to my knowledge, Bernie's one of our experts, so.
But I know, it just, it requires someone to designate which level of fund balance is. Other than that, I don't think
That's going to make the legislature the
Right.
highest level of decision-making authority. So we need a motion.
Motion.
Okay. We'll do a second. Bernie, any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And approved part-time temporary position in county treasurer's office. This is where Kathy Conley is retiring, and you want her to come back to be able to do some training.
She's retired as of May 17th, and we have filled the position, but there's some, because she left so suddenly, there wasn't time to transition. We've done some training ongoing, but there's still some outstanding things that we really need her expertise on for a very short time.
You think it's up to 150 hours?
I think that's a really high basis. I don't think it's going to take that long, but I don't want to.
You think it's going to be up to $18,000?
No, 3,000.
Hey, Dark Angelo, 18,000.
We're
Yeah.
about 30,
Oh, sorry.
we're guessing about 3,300 now.
Yeah.
Okay. I read it
So,
wrong.
so Dark Angelo's training was not complete at 18,000?
Well, there were some things that, they helped us with the annual report. They did train Michelle on how to do the annual report going forward, but there's still some internal quarterly things that they're not, they don't know our way of doing things. So Kathy has specific systems and things that she can train Michelle on to do the day operations.
And the individual who took Kathy's place has been trained, this is the individual she's going to train?
Yes.
Will more than she understand this? So we're not caught with only one person knowing it?
We're going to have a backup for her going forward as well.
And was that backup trained by Dark Angelo too?
No, should they'll be trained by Michelle as she gets trained by Kathy.
When the training took place, were there any manuals or written procedures written so that someone can?
Michelle did take notes as she went along, yes.
So they're not just her records, they become your office records for someone to be able to review for?
They will be in the future. Yeah, it's just been such a quick turnaround time.
Motion. Second? I'll second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. That's all. Ken? Right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Approve sewer district resolution to hire sewer district attorney. Does this go through human resources too? No, doesn't have to. Okay, and they want to hire, that's okay, thank you. Is there a motion? I'll second.
Just a question.
Yeah.
Is there any conflict between being a county attorney?
No. We haven't had one yet. I've ended up working with Jeff Barnett probably on half a dozen occasions. We've never had a conflict. If we did, he'd have to step up, and they'd have to go to somebody else.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Approve annual report of purchasing agent.
That was given, I think.
Yeah.
Motion.
Second? Got the second. About time you raise your hand. Any questions on this? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. There's only 4 of us, so that's why I'm listening intently. You guys to approve some transfers? Bernie had these transfers?
The only transfer that we have is $7,000 in public health in bioterrorism grant. Transfer from supplies to equipment in order to purchase glass and mobile, so it's actually a kiosk. There's, just to let you know, I think there's an issue with that grant spent on August 11th. The grant suspended date isn't until before, as it turns out, when the meeting is going to be held, the next meeting of the legislature. So if you want to approve the transfer to spend for the kiosks, and that's something maybe Dr. you can explain what they are, you probably also have to, the money technically isn't going to be in the right account at that point. So if we have to do a requisition, it would be for the money pending, that we could do pending the action of the legislature, but if you fail.
So what do we need to do tonight? We need just to do the transfer.
Transfer, you could do the transfer on the 15th. It would not.
I'm talking about, you need a resolution to move that transfer to the 15th.
Yes.
You say you can't spend it though, Dan.
But money has to be spent by the 15th.
By the 11th.
Excuse me, by the 11th, before the 15th. So I'm not sure that the transfer is going to do any good.
Why is this the 11th hour?
The purchase order has to be issued, but does the purchase order mean the money is tender? I guess that's the question.
Well, it would, but I think purchase order can't be awarded the money is in the
Why is it happening this late hour?
Bernie, what are you suggesting here? Because
The only suggestion I could make if you want to purchase the kiosks, that we could issue the purchase order without the money being there. If the legislature fails to make that transfer, we would have to cancel. That's.
And why?
I don't know what, I don't think, personally, my suggestion is, I believe it's already too late to make this grand purchase. I don't believe it will.
Who are these for?
These are computer kiosks that allow persons to register for all public health activities without any human contact. And something that under the bioterrorism grant was approved, something special that they really want help departments to do.
so what's the alternative, Doc? Because we're being told that Bernie doesn't think we can do it.
We would,
And we're not going to sit here and do something if our purchasing agent doesn't think we can do it.
so we would just not purchase them.
Okay, can we understand why? Is this like about, what precipitated this tiny crisis?
There's no doubt that this was earmarked for something else, correct?
Well, that was the way it was originally earmarked, but in the translation of that from the budget that was submitted, perhaps it did not get properly apportioned when we did that.
How much money?
$7,000.
Okay, going to go to number 8, approve contracts with agencies for youth program, 2012 program.
Yes, Mr. Mikulinski, now we'll be having a meeting later on the Water Authority. We'll add this resolution to his committee too. But this is basically the youth initiatives grants with Little Falls YMCA. Also the Center for Family Life and Recovery, the YMCA in the Mohawk Valley, our special delinquency money with Catholic Charities and the Center for Family Life and Recovery, and about an additional $18,000 with Catholic Charities for runaway and homeless youth. Again, I think you guys all remember 2 fiscal years ago, we got 25% cut. Now we got cut again 25%. So the money from the state is going away very quickly. But again, this goes through the whole advisory board, then it gets recommended.
Will these agencies be able to articulate for us what is lost in this process? What
Yes.
services are lost? I mean, we know the money's gone. We can't expect that they're going to be able to render the same services. We need
Absolutely.
to know what the full impact is on our county.
We can get that for you.
We need a motion second to approve contracts. We have Jim and Bernie. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. amend contract with Mohawk Valley Consulting Services. Is this a name change primarily?
Yes. Yeah, they've become the Center for Family Life and Recovery.
And that's all it is, Rob?
Yes.
Okay, can I have a motion? Smitty and Bernie, any discussion?
And just for the sake, when we discuss this at budget, I think it would be helpful to have periodically utilization, not with any specificity, but this is like the employee assistance program, right?
Yeah.
Just to know the utilization that it's getting, because there was a question at budget time whether it was, what it was getting.
We could also do that, not in the budget time, we could do it at a different meeting.
They could just send out a note.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Got to approve ADA, American with Disabilities Act policy. Is there something new to this one?
This is brand new. Steve could.
Yeah, it came to my attention that the county does not have a Section 504 grievance procedure. Basically, that is, the county is saying we will not discriminate against anybody solely based on a disability or deny them employment, program benefits, those such things. So I've developed a policy with a grievance procedure. If somebody feels that we're discriminated against, that they can go through.
So this is just the grievance procedure, because we've obviously got something within our discrimination thing that you can't discriminate against. Okay. It's mandatory, Rob says, so I need a motion. Dutch, Bernie, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Got a retirement resolution to amend.
Workers' comp.
Oh, I'm sorry. I already checked that off. That was so good. We got to approve the workman's comp budget.
One second.
Any discussion on that? Did you get this?
I think we ought to bring that out.
Yeah. I think we should, I think Jim's right. We should discuss that. I mean, can you go over that a little bit, Steve?
Sure, I believe I gave, everybody should have gotten a copy in their mailbox.
But it shows, shows that it's going down, which is what we were hoping, so.
Yeah, the budget is down 11.7% from last year. The plan is certainly headed in the right direction, based a lot on decisions of this legislature to buy out certain claims. The plan is headed in the right direction. Very good decrease.
Yeah.
Where's the salaries? What is salaries? Who paid for this?
$10,000 for salaries, and then there's some,
Well, is that what we pay the company?
No, that's hours from my office, work in my office and myself.
the plan reimburses some of the county expense.
Oh, this is not in addition to their salary?
Addition, no.
Okay, thank you.
Motion, Bernie, second. Any other discussion? Thanks, Steve. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Now it's amend retirement resolution.
Yeah, these were a couple people that were missed. The DSS/district attorney and an assistant district attorney.
Okay. When something's blank, what does that mean?
We have not received a record of activities.
This goes back to 11, January of 11?
Well, one says October 1st.
Well, the other one is January. Is that 12?
2012.
Oh, they weren't in there before, I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, I think we believe, to be honest with you, that these individuals did not need to be there, but we did check the retirement system and they need to be there.
But we've been reporting them?
Yes. And we
So-
well, the one person is new, I think you recognize
Yeah,
that, Danny.
right.
And then the other person, we did have a log previously.
Okay. We get a motion to move it. Second. Okay.
I just wonder, because the ASMA, the one that's the DSS attorney, and then the assistant, she also is the assistant district attorney. So we're actually reporting her as more than full-time. Is that what we do, Jim? When they're-
Yeah, that's what they're
they
reporting.
tell us to do?
And
They don't get more than full-time credit?
Absolutely, they get 20 hours.
The 20 days.
I'm sorry, 20, I apologize, 20 days.
But
Correct.
so she's working, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. I asked Jim to do a budget update for us. what we're doing. Everybody have
Last time, Andrew.
What are you gonna do? Smiling now.
Yep.
Is this the last committee meeting or is there another? Is this, do you have your committee meeting tonight too?
Yeah, it's
Okay, everybody have one?
not much stuff.
No. Housekeeping.
Yeah, very quickly, refund of prior year's experience. Again, these are my projections, working with the department heads and treasurer and Mr. Decker. Will be $50,000 under what we recommended. OTB revenue, which we cut every year, again, we're recommending will be $30,000 below. The Indigent Defender Program, which the state cut again, of $23,000.
When did it take the state cut?
They cut it 2 years ago, Pat, and they cut it again this year.
Well,
We got the email probably late June.
see, that's my point I want to make, is that even though we budget for things, the state can come in at any time.
Retroactive.
Yeah, and decide that they're not going to pay, so.
So you said that you pounded out in June, and it's an appropriation that we expected in Jan?
Well, we made the appropriation in a November, December process. And what they did, Helen, is they cut it last year and they cut it again this year. And they're asking the $23,000 that's out there. Keith is coming up with a program that he'll come back, hopefully, to the legislature that might be able to save some more money.
Pat, just, I don't know if you want
But
to...
it has to be a new program. I
Yeah,
just
let's
wanted to
go
get-
through it first if we can.
Gain on sale of property ended up being $26,560.
That's the case, all right.
Correct. A lot of that had to do because of the fact that I think we had several get back to us on the 3 times, so that cut
Several
that.
that redeemed.
Right, at the 3 times. Interest and penalty, that's usually about a $1.4 million item, projecting $18,000 additional. Interest, our regular interest, which we've cut from a few years ago of $650,000, we budgeted $60,000, and it looks like we'll bring in about $52,000, which is kind of crazy. Mortgage tax and clerk's fees are up. That's been flat the last couple of years. We're starting to see that increase, which is, on the mortgage side, I think that's a good point. Board of Elections, thank you, Pat. The revenue and expenses, again, this has to do with us having to have all of these primaries that we've had. We're open, whether we get 5% or 3% or 4% of the public that showed up, for the federal and the state, primaries, we still had to staff it. And that's, to me, I think you guys know how I feel about that. Sales tax, I project that will be $290,000. This is county portion. I project will be $290,000 over what we budgeted. Medicare Part D, $50,000, and I've talked to Steve about this. This is money that's coming to us through the Affordable Care Act, so we know it's a sure thing. We will continue to get our pharmacy rebates, but we got an additional check for that amount of money. The community college outside tuition, we were kind of hit over the head at the college. The college got a 129% increase. I called Brian Molinaro, who's at the MVCC. They're looking at a 22%, so that's where I came up with the number. Because I think everybody realized the majority of our outside tuition goes to MVCC. We have a few here, a few there, but the majority goes to Mohawk Valley Community College. The big one, we've been talking about the last 3 months, the sheriff and jail account, $600,000, and $532,000 of that is boarding out. Health insurance is...
Jim, how much was in the budget for boarding out?
We had $950,000.
So you're saying we're going to spend $1.4 million this year?
1.4 to 1.45. Health insurance, $211,000 for the good. Miscellaneous, going through all the accounts, about $48,000. So we're, we have a I think our chairman's mentioned we have a $400,000 contingency, and to date we're about $133,000 negative on on all those
What
accounts.
did this come up to, Mayor?
About 133,000.
What's gonna happen with Nancy Stormer, Rhea? That's the, is she the one that does the DSS?
Yeah.
And the state's gonna not allow that anymore?
Going to 2013, we can't do it anymore.
What can't you do? I can't hear you.
We do a reconciliation through DSS, and that's part of the revenues we look at, which is usually how much. I mean,
She's gotten us about $500,000 a year. This year, she got one in under the wire for about 260 for us.
But it's not going to be allowed.
This was allowed,
This one.
but it stopped.
The refund of prior year experience, this is what things you thought were going to materialize or didn't think were going to materialize? What is that?
No, this is expenses that we thought, and again, we've cut this down. I think you remember the last couple of years, we've had some real big misses on that. Basically, saying that we were going to expend, $10,000 in the county administrator's office. So Bernie and I we go through all of those and take a look and use our best guess. And basically what happened is we spent the $10,000. So we spent
You
more.
anticipated expenses not happening and they
Correct.
did happen. How did that happen? Do we tell departments not to order?
No, those are things, Helen, that they've all put in for. We go by past experience and we use our best judgment.
But would we, now that we know we're 132,000, right now in June, God knows what's going to happen over the next 6 months, is there any austerity that we're putting on any departments now?
And that's why we're giving, that's
Well,
why
yeah, that's
Pat
what
wanted
we
to
talked about.
talk about that.
But I still want to go back to that Nancy Stormer thing, because people have questioned why our fund balance is high. Jim recognized this could be happening. He talked to me a couple of years ago. We were obviously, the revenues that were coming in just on this one item was significant. Not having that obviously puts a little bit of damper on our budget in the future years to come. So these are the kind of things that, all of us need to know and be aware of. And it doesn't necessarily stop here, because the state has come in and done different things like this to us before midstream. So, yeah.
I recognize that that's true, that we've talked about in public health and other places where they retroactively adjust us. One of the comments that I have heard in terms of our fund balance from some is a question or a concern that as we're funding a jail, that we would be looking at fund balance to help reduce the amount that we had to bond for. And so that's a question out there. If our fund balance is rich enough, is that something that is being considered in any form?
Oh, that has been discussed.
Yeah,
I ask that because when people say that we won't be paying for the jail with property tax dollars, the fund balance grows through tax assessments too, and it is property tax
Well,
dollars.
yeah, too, but also through programs like these too. But yes, it has been discussed. Gary had a question.
Can you explain what this Nancy Stormer thing was then?
Yeah, several years ago, Gary, the state, I think it was back in the don't hold me to the exact time, back in the mid-'80s, when they were closing the psychiatric facilities, they made a promise that counties would not be held responsible for the cost of these individuals. Something happened in the mid-2000s where the state lost the records. This individual created a cottage industry. We got about 10 counties who agreed to, go with her. They really came up with a highly technical way to go after these accounts. If she got us $1 back, we would give her 25 cents. We brought in 2.3, 2.4 million. So, we brought in 1.6, again off the top of my head, 1.6, 1.7, or other counties, get the cents on the dollar. And so there was 10 of us left that were still, going after the state every year saying, they pull the files, they go through it in a very technical process, and go through the files and bill the state, and have gone to court 8 to 10 times and beat the state every time out. Because the promise was made that the state would be responsible for these individuals. So now, in the governor's last budget, they said no more.
And
So
yet-
even though they closed Lincoln Mental Health?
Absolutely.
And this year, they're closing the local psychiatric facility to adult inpatients, so I mean, it can be even worse. Although, as Scudder has said, he didn't think it would be a major impact on us. If it is, whatever, when the governor's promised enhanced community services.
I've asked Jim to come back with a plan on what he thinks based on the more asking, I guess, to, based on your projections here on what kind of measures you think we should be looking at. Or if right now we need to do something, we need a kind of resolution, but usually we ask people, department heads to start cutting back, but I think, Jim, this happened pretty quick within the last week, so I think it might be a good idea to give you a little bit of time to absorb one, and if that's...
Yeah, if we could have a week or so.
Pat, what did you say, resolution, we never adopted an austerity resolution in the department. At least not the time I took.
It's been a long time.
No, I think we usually do them within committee, but if for some reason, I think years ago we did do something. Dennis is too bad, he probably knows. Are there any other questions on that?
Well, how frequently will this get updated for us?
What's that?
When will we look at this again?
Usually I give it to you for the third quarter.
Jim stays on top of it, you know, every week he's got something, it seems, but...
Yeah, actually, it's whenever you want it.
I get, if you do it, you
Just
share
for me,
it,
for
like you say.
going on now. That's what I do.
I just, it's just a way of being.
He'll inform us if there's something big that's happened, which of course is the jail issue now. Okay.
Are the locks fixed to reduce the cost of their boarding out?
My understanding is still in the process of fixing that. We're hoping.
Wow.
You can do that under,
We've had months
you can do
and
that
months
under
and
public
months.
safety. Is there anything else under Ways and Means just for?
It is a Ways and Means, okay.
I know, but it's under public safety and Ways and Means. On the bottom. Anything else?
Now we need to bring some video.
Okay, so I need 30 seconds, so you can go ahead.
Okay, Pat's back. I'll call the Human Resource Committee to order.
So we need to approve a reappointment of medical personnel and public health nursing service. These are mostly committee stuff that this needs are.
Yes.
Gives me you can do it.
What's that?
These are mostly your stuff that needs, your committee that needs
Can I have a motion on that one to approve the appointment of the medical personnel and public health
Is
nursing?
that only Dr. Nostelli?
Yes.
So moved.
Who made it? Lenny?
Is there a second? Gene? Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Need a motion in Ways and Means too.
So moved.
I'll second. All in favor, any discussion? All in favor on Ways and Means?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Okay, number 16, approve staffing request of public health nursing. May I have a motion?
What is your
When you have a document for presentation.
Yeah, Doc.
Mr. Wilson, could you put this?
This is on the hours for Sandy.
On the hours, okay. So that's not executive session.
Executive session is appropriate if you are discussing employment history of a particular person, matters leading to appointment, employment of a particular person. I don't know if you're doing that, I don't really know where you are. That's a particular person, just talking about employment history or matters leading to their appointment or employment of a particular person.
I just wanted to raise the issue, just since it's flexible hours for one employee.
Employment history, I guess, I don't know.
What, I want more information.
Talk about an individual and their employment history, we go into executive session.
We can talk about an individual and their employment history.
Yes.
And we can go into executive session.
It's not a position, it's the person.
So can I have a motion, Ways and Means, to go into executive session?
Motion. Second.
All in favor, Ways and Means?
Motion for human resources. Fred and Peter. All those in favor?
This is a renewal of the lease on the Main Street property where we're having the program under the Healthy Families Grant.
Has this been working?
Yes. And
How long is this lease for?
This is a two-year renewal.
We can get out of it in.
And we can get out at, Mr. Melendez, so we can get out in 30 days. Okay.
Do we have any information on, Pat, I think you asked, did you say, is it working? Do we have any utilization on this? Because, again, you're hearing comments of people on Main Street, they don't see much going on in there, so I'm curious how they're using it.
We're using it quite a bit, and I think Sandy has some of the hours, but it seemed to me that it was almost 10 hours left.
Go ahead.
It was used about 10 hours last week, but it's been used more than that, and it's used regularly. I don't think I can do justice to what happens there, but this is a place where families come in with the supervision of Healthy Family staff. It's not only, and it's not a playground, it's not daycare, it's part evaluation.
If you get a chance, just give us a utilization, how it's utilized.
I'd like to hear what's going on.
Still the same rate?
It's still the same rate, the question.
Yes,
It's under a grant.
and it's under the Healthy
Grant
Families
runs out,
Grant.
grant runs out, so.
Is it only used during the day?
There are plans to use it in the evening, but I think it's only being used for the day.
And it's all our staff that use it, or the contractors, people we hire to do the counseling through that who use it?
Most of the employees that use it are under the Healthy Families Grant. That's some of our own employees, including.
I think you're getting called up.
May I have a motion? Seconded by Gene.
Ways and Means,
Motion.
is there a second? I'll second. Any other discussion, Ways and Means? Rob's gonna take a look at it, you take a look at all contracts, make sure that there's an out in case the program stops. All in favor, Ways and Means? Aye.
All in
Opposed?
favor of the human resources?
Aye.
Carried. Number 18, approved contract with the agency for the Healthy Families Program.
Okay, you got?
This is a renewal of our grant. This will be the 6th year, is that correct, of the Healthy Families Program. And the $190,000 is going to go in a grant to the Family Nurturing Center.
May I have a motion? I so move. Gene, second by Fred.
Yeah.
And just hang on a second. Motion and Ways and Means?
Motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay.
I don't know if this is a program that there was a question raised a few years ago, you had a luncheon, and they were going to assess the positive nature, was it of Healthy Families, or, I mean, how do we rate whether we're accomplishing what we set out to do, and how is that measured?
The Prevent Child Abuse Foundation of America is the mother organization for this, and they have the most complicated and definitive statistics on every aspect of the program. And in terms of all the indicators that New York State and the Prevent Child Abuse Foundation have audited our program is 100% successful. And so we're at full capacity. This is Sandy's work. We're at full capacity with 90 families. Not only that, almost all of the employees that have been hired under the grant have continued. These are low-paying jobs, but yet there's been almost 100% retention of our staff. So it's really been a very successful program. It's a successful program by design, but it's also been very successful by Sandy and her staff implementation.
Yeah. Mr. Wallace wants to.
We had our PINS meeting today, and it was very, not a great one, to be honest with you, but to a person around the table from our family court judge, outside agencies, schools, we're just very hopeful that this program will make a difference. We're starting to see some real mental health issues pop up with our 14, 15, 13, I should say 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 kids. And the work that's being done with the families, not just the babies, but the families with these kids, gives us a little bit of hope. And that didn't just come from, county staff, that came from outside staff. And that was good to hear.
When they say 90, the 90 cases, those are the infants and children, the little children, not the group you're talking about, right? The older kids.
No, these are little kids, babies, pregnant moms.
So when Dr. O'Keefe says by design, and I understand that because I did have a conversation with Sandy about this because I was doing something in the community. And the concern that I had was that I know that you can take 90 and it's very prescriptive on what you can take to have it be successful. The concern is like what Catholic Charities is doing for ones that we don't have funding for. So I think it's good to know that we're successful, and Dr. Newton stated there's an audit that was found successful, and I wonder if it might be shared, just so we know how successful it is. I like that. Thank you.
We could share that again.
Motion, we have a motion, Ways and Means, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
All in favor of Human Resources?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 19, approve staffing request for mental health department.
Yeah, this would be a contract with Dr. Menon for the period while Dr. Patil is on vacation in September.
May I have a
We're
motion?
looking, Ed's looking for at least a minimum, a maximum of 9 days.
Hendricks moved it, is there a second? Shaw?
98 what, Jim? 9 days. 9 days.
Oh, 9 days.
Jim, what did we do when Dr. Menon was our psychiatrist? Who covered for her vacation?
I
I
can't
guess I'm
answer
confused.
that. Yeah, I can't answer that
I
question.
mean, do we have less psychiatrists than we had before she retired and picked up Dr. Patil?
I don't know, he requested it, he says he needs it.
Well, obviously, if Mateo's going on vacation, we need somebody, right?
I think if you look at the numbers that we're seeing too, the numbers are going through the roof.
Yeah, I didn't figure.
So, we need a motion in Ways and Means.
Motion.
Bernie seconds. Any other discussion, Ways and Means? All in favor, Ways and Means? All in
Aye.
favor, Ways and Means?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried.
All those in favor of Human Resources?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. May I have a motion to close the Human
I have, Mr.
Resources?
Chairman, just a couple of things since Dr. O'Keefe is here. if I may.
Sure.
I just wondered what the status of PCAP was. Last time we talked, what was happening with the pregnant ladies. I don't think that we've had an update with the having lost Dr. Lee. What's going on with it, where we are?
We have several fronts that we're working on. The St. Elizabeth's Hospital Family Practice Program was in contact this week to tell us that all of the patients that we had referred to them, their appointments, had made their appointments, which is the goal, that they would keep on with their prenatal care. We have our staff is continuing to honor any woman who comes forward who is pregnant to sign them up for Medicaid and has and set them up for appointments for prenatal care. We have not been successful. I don't want to say there's no hope of success, but there's very little hope of success in having anything like the Dr. Lee program. A obstetrician will not come to practice at Herkimer County. We have applied for, Sandy has applied for a grant with the Community Foundation to help implement transportation and fulfillment of the obligations of the pregnant women to keep their early prenatal care. What we do know is that prenatal care early in the pregnancy assures a healthy pregnancy and a healthy delivery that reduces adverse events at birth and birth delays. So we have solicited the MOMS program, which is similar to the Dr. Lee program, but it takes place in the doctor's office so that patients can have prenatal care with the family practitioners within Herkimer County. And of the 5 that have responded to my letters and telephone calls, all have declined to take on prenatal care for their patients in their offices. There is ongoing efforts also with the Community Foundation to work with Bassett Healthcare to help them improve their coverage with midwives coming up to the Herkimer site, but that remains something that has not yet been fulfilled. So there's a lot of promising aspects, but we have not replaced Dr. Lee, and it's unlikely that we will.
So what we're doing now is if someone is referred, you find out a pregnant mom, either through Health Families or wherever it is, or you have staff that are referring them out, is that it?
Yes, and as an example, in the past, we might have had 5 or 6 admissions to the prenatal program per month, and now we're having as many as 5 per week being eligible for Medicaid through us and getting referred on. So in an odd way, we may be providing earlier prenatal care, although not at our site, to more women eventually.
Are those statistics captured in any place that we can look at
They
and see
will.
how it's trending?
They
They're
will.
being captured now?
Yes.
And how will we know about that, right? Just to see, because it's something that we've lost through, changes at St. Elizabeth's. How will we keep track of what's happening and have a sense of how the need is being met?
We have statistics.
Can we have some formal way of getting those?
Well,
Monthly
yeah,
report or
he can
something?
give them to us and we can distribute them.
So monthly or something, let us know so we can see how it's trending?
Yes.
Anything else under? Other?
I just have one other thing. And I don't think it's an executive session anymore. It was done in executive session, but after 5 days, I think it was being voted out. What about that position that we talked about creating in your committee, in the Human Resource Committee? The upper management position?
What department?
The public health, assistant director. of public
It's
health.
still out there.
It got approved, but it never came to the full legislature?
Nope. We're not ready to bring it forward.
Okay.
May I have a motion to adjourn the Human Resource Committee? So move.
Second.
Any feet?
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
It doesn't have your name.
Lenny, you can have your seat back.
I don't want it now, I want to go.
Do a good job.
I'd like to call this meeting of the Public Safety Committee to order. And the first item on the agenda, number 20, was approve agreement with Bassett Healthcare for alcohol and drug screenings for the Sheriff's Department. Last year, the previous cost for the service was $180. The new contract will be $195 for all services, and that's for drug and alcohol screening and medical exams for prospective correction officers.
We do about 3 to 5 a year.
Yeah, 3 to 5 times a year they use it, and that covers all of it, and it's gone up $15.
I'll make a motion to both committees.
I'll second that.
All in favor, ways and means?
All in favor of public safety?
Here.
And I received a letter from the sheriff. One of his jail cooks is retiring with his last day of service being August 30th. He is also out on sick leave. He's been out since July 11th. What Chris would like to do is create a full-time position, a temporary full-time position, so we can hire a full-time cook once we approve it until the end of August. So we've got 15 days.
Primarily until that person's retirement goes into effect.
Primarily until the person's retirement goes into effect, but he's short a full-time cook over there right now. and he's been kind of backfilling it with part-time. So that would be just for 15 days.
Motion on both.
Second vote.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'd like to understand what our rules are governing the use of sick leave when an individual is not expected to return. In my career, we couldn't do that if there was no prognosis of return to work. You know, you weren't able to just write out all of your time, sick time, and then retire, generally. Do we have any kind of a policy that speaks to the use of sick time, or whether this is routine, can an individual be sick up until retirement date?
Yeah. I don't know if it's routine, but it's allowed that.
Is
During the
there's
sick time.
nothing that prevents it in our policy? So if anybody that's accruing sick time, and this is not reflected on that particular position, it's just trying to understand, so an individual, however much sick time they have in the books, there's no other incentive on their sick time, right? It doesn't buy health insurance, or there's no payment on it, so in order not to, quote, lose your sick time, people may not be thinking of it as an insurance policy, but rather it's my time and I'll just exhaust it and then I'll retire when it's gone.
I don't think that's a situation in this case, Mr. Rose.
But I mean, there's nothing that prevents that then?
No.
That the individual will retire once the sick leave is gone, is what we're hearing.
No, we have the section 41J that allows you to take your sick time and add it to your service time for retirement, so that's an incentive.
Well, you-
If that's what you're asking. I guess I'm not sure.
And all tiers can do that? Can do that, right?
Yes. Tier 6, it's a little less, you can only, I think, have 100 days added versus 165 for other tiers.
All those in favor of public safety?
All those in favor and Ways and Means?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Approve flood mitigation contract and accept grant.
Yeah, Bob, thank you for coming in. I know you've been sick all day.
Well, 3
I
or
think
4.
everybody remembers, we sent in an application for German Flats and Mohawk and also Ilion for about $500,000. We were awarded that money for those 2 projects. However, what's happened is there's 3 or 4 small projects in Herkimer and Ilion and Frankfurt. The state is thinking it's a lot easier for the county, to be the monitor of the program, so we only have to come and look at one person. So what we're asking for is for us to have contract, and Bob can jump in on this, for us to have contracts with those agencies, and those contracts will basically set aside the amount that the feds and state have given to these municipalities, and the contracts and the responsibilities that they'll have to perform.
If I may, I think that the important thing is to realize that the 2 grants for Herkimer Flats and Ilion, the county was sponsored on those grants. And the other grants, they just appeared after the awards, and the county was not sponsored on those grants. They did not come through my office or through Jim's office.
Yeah, just so you know, Town of Frankfurt, the project was $34,950, and I'll make a copy for anybody who wants this, was $87.37. Avery Road in the Town of Frankfurt, $41,280. The grant award is $10,320. Town of Frankfurt, $47,001. Grant award, $11,775. Bellinger Brook in the Village of Herkimer, project $35,430. Grant award, $8,857. Moyer Creek in Village of Frankfurt, $32,000. Grant award of $8,000. Village of Ilion, a small project, $140,000 project, they were given $35,000. So I think some of the towns and villages got mad at us thinking we selected these. We didn't know it. We didn't know anything about it. We didn't know about, like Bob said, we didn't know the application process. I think the state's just saying it's a lot easier for them to monitor one of us than it is the rest of us. So if this gets approved, what Bob and I would do would get Jessica Brighton down here, who's a 2-county planning person, who's a wonderful person, hold a meeting with all the towns and villages and run through these and what they will and won't have to do.
And the town will make up any extra money, extra cost.
It's their responsibility, and Fred, there's a tremendous amount of paperwork and responsibilities that they have to do. And that'll be in that contract, they'll have to sign with us to make sure.
And we're liable if they don't, the county.
Well, the contract now will go back to them and say, you will have to do A, B, C, and D. They get, well, yeah. and they'll be liable.
This is something the state is telling the municipalities they gotta do. I'm not saying they're gonna have a problem with it.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if they will or not, because I remember we talked to the village of Herkimer, and they thought they were getting 35,000. They're getting 8,800. And same with, I know Joe Kitty accused me of taking the money to give the German flag. And I get along with Joe, we grew up together. And I said, it had nothing to do. All of a sudden, he showed up on our doorstep saying, we want you to, be the people that are overlooking these projects.
Well, I guess the question is, what if the municipality says no?
Then I think it's
I'm not
dead.
saying.
No, then I think it's dead.
They won't get the money.
No. And again, this is something, and I've encouraged all of them to take it up to the state.
Still have to do the program though, right? When they
There's still a lot of things that, I don't know if Jim found out any more information that, I don't know about them, is whether, when we were talking about this on the phone, whether county would be responsible for overseeing the engineering or just the paperwork and the financial part of it. If it's the engineering, then I imagine Jay's office would have to be involved to some point.
Well, I do know at one point in a meeting that some engineering assistance was offered to some senior official.
But I'll make a copy of this, guys, and scan it to everybody so you got the numbers.
Is that the one that had a quick pro quo?
Yeah, not during the initial meeting. Didn't have a quick pro quo. That came later.
Motion, public safety? Motion. Second? Sorry?
Motion, Ways and Means.
Move.
Dutch, second. All in favor, Ways and Means?
Aye. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it. Approve agent prosecution grant in district attorney's office. Grant will run through April 1st, already running, through March 31st, 2013. The funding is in the amount of $29,200. Funds will be used to enhance prosecution of repeat violent and serious felony offenders. I think that's down from last year, but Jim?
Absolutely.
Were we up around 38 or 40?
Several years ago, we were in the mid-40s.
Yeah.
And I think we were around 30, 31 last year, and now it's now down to 29.2 again.
I have a motion?
So moved.
Right.
I'll second.
Alan?
And Jim, do they use this to supplement, or is it paying back part of the salary?
We've been able to use it towards our expenses. We're not adding anything additional. So that was green. Sorry.
All in favor, Ways and Means?
Aye.
Opposed?
All in favor of public safety? Opposed? 25 is to approve a probation officer training position to probation officer. This is,
Could Steve handle this?
okay.
Now, basically, what it is, guys, a probation officer trainee is a one-year appointment, and it's an automatic if the person's given approval that they're doing what they think they should be doing, meeting the requirements, that it's automatic. It's part of our contract with CSEA, but it still always has to come back to the legislation to be approved.
So we need a motion, Ways and Means. All in favor, Ways and Means? Opposed? Carried, Ways and Means.
All in favor of public safety? Opposed? So carried. And no, I don't know whether the lights are in yet.
With what?
I don't know whether the lights are in
I
yet.
think because given the amount of money that we're talking about boarding out, we know that took 7 cells offline, and they've been offline for many months.
I will find out tomorrow.
It's a big piece of change. Well, Jim said it's not, they're still doing it.
Okay.
right?
Can I have a motion, Ways and Means, to adjourn? Unless there's any-
I got one more safety.
Me too.
Ways and Means, or?
No.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Ray and, Bernie and Ray. All in favor, Ways and Means to adjourn?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Something for public safety here?
Yeah. Do we have any information yet on the lawsuit with the village of Herkimer? Have we heard anything, or we're past it, overdoing it?
Probably 120 days.
How many days is it?
Swift justice.
Normally, it's 30 to 60 days.
No, No, I mean, how many days have been exhausted?
About 120. Couple over. 123, 120. I could count.
Gary?
There's no mandated time?
Usually it's 30 to 60 days.
Yeah, but we heard you had to do an Article 78, that didn't make much sense.
What is this?
Compel the court to give us a decision. I don't think that's gonna go over too
I know water to the farmer fits in our highway jurisdiction, but since we have our part of our emergency management, we ended up getting some rain, and the list of farmers that I called, I talked to Bob and Mr. Wallace, I believe, during the course of the last couple of weeks before the rain came. There were some farmers that were pretty much out of water. Not as many as I was told were affected. I ended up calling in, but I guess we got a little rain. We may have some short-term relief. I have been told by many of those farmers August is usually the driest month, and that's when they really ran into problems in the past. And we know it not much of a winter as far as filling up the wells. So I guess my question is, when this first came to our attention, that we had to get a list, a certain number of farmers on the list, then get the committees together to meet on it, and then perhaps do something afterwards. So you've got the cows that may be dying of thirst, and it might take us 3 weeks to act. I guess my suggestion, and I don't know if it would fit all the legalities in this executive law, but if we run into a situation like we did last week, and we don't get rain right away, and actually some of these farmers told me over the weekend we're still having major problems. Is there some way to streamline that thing where we could get, whether it's the highway committee, again, it's a gray area, I thought it'd be emergency management, but if we could streamline it, get together before the crisis occurs, and have either Mr. Wallace or Mr. Vanderwalker at a certain point be able to say, I'm declaring an emergency, and we already have the process in place. I mean, we got a list of things that got to be done, so, and it took a week to get that meeting together that got canceled. I guess I would want to be proactive and perhaps get the highway committee together if they're the right committee, like next week, and set some kind of criteria and say, as soon as this declaration is made, that we can act, rather than have it take a few weeks.
I know there's a certain procedure, because we've gone through this once before.
Well,
or a couple
as far as
times.
streamlining, I think the last time when we came up with, just a quick history. The last time we started out with a list of 19 farmers. We ended up with a total of 24 at the end. Now, Jay only delivered to, I think it was 16 or 18. That's because a number of the farmers had their own plans, you know, and they were getting their own water. So we didn't deliver to all of them. But in that case, we actually, I think we had an emergency meeting. And that was on a Tuesday, I believe. And I think Jay was delivering water by Thursday or Friday of that week.
Okay.
So it could be a quick process if we have everything ready to go. And everything can, if the committee's legislature made the decision to do it, and you get cooperation from the state, that's the key. If we can get those tankers, you know, it could be pretty quick.
Well, just a little bit of history from what I recall from a meeting a few years ago, that we asked the farmers to mitigate on their own behalf versus putting it on the taxpayers, so. That was quite a few years ago.
Well, there was some grants out there at that time, if I remember right, for farms to dig wells, ponds, and so on and so forth. We also ran into a situation, which I think they've tightened the rules on that. At that time, we were dumping into wells and things like that, which is not allowed anymore.
We can't dump it in wells.
We can't do anything like that anymore. So, you know, they've got to have containers to be able to put this in, and
They have to have some type of tank system or bat or something to dump the water in.
I guess bringing up these questions and how they gotta be prepared and we might wanna be prepared. I would prefer to get that out in the open, not at 10 after 9, and let the farmers know what the process is and us. Because granted, the farmers could have got some mitigation assistance, but we all know they're struggling. And you can't mitigate this summer when we went, I mean, the whole country's dry. You can't expect that and plan for it. You can try, but when milk prices are too low, it's not easy to do. I think these emergencies might occur once in a great while, and I think we should be ready. And if they gotta have a certain container and whatever, they should know it, and we should be able to move right away.
Could we not have some type of a resolution that would empower between the 911 center and Wallace or something to act without having, I mean, they know the criteria that has to be met, and do a resolution that would allow that empowerment, and so that they can move on it, and then use that as a source document along with what
I
Fox
may
put
be
out?
wrong, but I think the chairman has the capability of declaring an emergency in something like that, don't you?
Yeah, but there's other issues in terms of who's paying for what, who's doing what.
I don't think that the bulk of the responsibility after it's set up is on my office. It is to, to stay in contact with the farmers and see what their needs are, and we do that. I think Jay takes the bulk of the responsibility once it's set up. His office, bears the expense. There's no expense to my office.
He's got the truck, but the biggest thing is getting the
And
tanks
the
out of the
liability
city.
and everything else that goes along with it, the county pays.
But I don't know, I'm telling you from talking to a number of farmers, there's one in particular, he had 200 cows, and if we didn't get those few rainstorms, he didn't have anything to give them, he probably would have been forced to borrow a ton of money and have it shipped in, and they're already losing money. But, I mean, number one, the list wasn't long enough, and besides that, they had to tell them, well, we'll be meeting in a week. In the meantime, his cows could have been dropping. I think he was pretty close to that, and I don't want to run into the situation where we could help, and
Understood.
we're not ready.
But how many times before has this farmer run out of water?
No, you don't think this is an unusual year?
It doesn't
And how
matter.
many times-
Every year is an unusual year.
Well,
that
he's
this
got
happens. What I'm saying
sources,
is,
they're dry.
what
We
I'm
had
saying-
no winter.
I
and we
understand.
had-
I look out the window. What I'm saying is he, I'm not picking on any one farmer, I'm just saying, are the same farmers on the same list every time there's a drought? And do they, take precautions when it's, do they dig a deeper pond? Do they put a holding tank in?
I believe the answer is yes to a lot of them, and how often have they called?
Yes.
Especially if we had a list, just at one time?
Yes.
We
No,
actually, I believe,
This habitual,
this would be the third time since I've been here that we've
The
delivered.
second time, well, I think it was.
Yeah, so it's not like this guy's calling every year.
Well, this would be the third time, and I believe there was one time before I came that they delivered.
the reason why is because the fire departments used to deliver before the county did. All the fire departments in the valley, in the county, have stopped doing that because of liability. So then they went over to the county, so it has been done. It's just that we haven't had a record of it on the county level, but the local fire departments were
No,
delivering.
we've done it a couple of times, but one of our issues is the vehicle, and we have to get the tankers out of the state.
Right.
We don't have tankers.
I got no problem helping. It just,
But I think Bob did a great job of putting the information together, because I didn't understand all of the conditions, and I think it should be formalized in some fashion so it can be sent out to the farmers and get a reaction.
Fred?
They can always march it to the creek. They're able to walk, they'll find water for animals.
Some of those creeks are dry. At least that's what they told me. I don't think they're legal.
we got farmers who have farms on city water that own farms that are on private wells, and they want the county to provide. Well, get a tank, and then again, who's gonna provide the
I went
water?
down the road and pumped it out of the sprinkler and dug a hole, and I.
Motion to adjourn?
Out of my pond that year while it was dry, like you should have on the ankle.
Some farmers have more resources than others, including water.
All those in favor?
I'm here to help
Opposed?
you.